Speaker.
Ko Adrian Rarafi.
Tēnā koe e te māngai o te ware. O tira e pirangi ana au ki tukumi atu ki a rātou anō hoki e te māngai o te ware. Nō reira, kia koutou Ngati Koroki Kahukura, anei a au tukumi atu ki a koutou katoa, ko tai mai ki te ware nei I tēnei rā. Kei te mii atu au ki a koutou mō koutou ka, o koutou maia, o koutou pono anō oki, kia whakatau tēnei kremi. Nō reira, tēnei te mii. Kei te mii oki au ki a koe e te tumuaki. Tēnā koe o tira, ki te mauri o te motu ki a kiingi tūheitia, tēnei te mii ake ki a ia. Nō reira, tēnā tātou katoa. Mr. Speaker, I join with my colleagues in acknowledging all of the people that have arrived here today to hear the third reading of the Ngati Koroki Kahukura Bill. I want to acknowledge all of the contributions from members today. It is indeed one of the occasions where the House speaks as one voice usually on the passing of settlement bills. And today I want to acknowledge in particular to the Minister, Chris Finlayson, for the work that he has done. Also the negotiators of this settlement. From experience I know that this is not an easy task. And it does take a long time. As my colleague Lewis Award has said, the original claim was made 20 years ago. So a lot of people have worked very hard to get to this stage. I want to also acknowledge those who have passed. In 20 years, it is without a doubt that people who have made huge commitments to this legislation will have passed on. And in particular, I want to acknowledge Wally Papa and others as well for the work that they have done on this settlement. Mr. Speaker, I've read a number of historical accounts of deeds of settlements, and never ceases to amaze me at the resilience of our people. Never ceases to amaze me as well that in each and every one of them, or at least most of them, there are words to the effect that this iwi has become virtually landless. This is an issue that certainly drives most iwi in wanting to settle their historical claims. It is usually all about the land, and in this particular bill, I want to particularly acknowledge Maunga Tautari. This has a huge interest for Ngati Koroki Kahukura, and I want to acknowledge the innovative mechanism that has been produced and agreed by both the Crown and Ngati Koroki Kahukura. To see that this taonga, this special place, is indeed looked after not only for the iwi but also the wider community. And I have to say that that is a huge gift from Ngati Koroki Kahukura, an act of generosity towards both the community and also Aotearoa. Mr. Speaker, the Native Land Court awarded that particular land to individuals, and of course individuals had the right to sell that land, which they eventually did. And of course those kinds of acts, the omissions of the Crown and the legislation that was in place at that time, all contributed to the ongoing land loss. And as it states in the deed of settlement, by the end of the 20th century, Ngati Koroki Kahukura were deemed to be virtually landless. This piece of legislation begins to heal that issue. It doesn't in itself resolve the whole issue. There are many, many years to come, I think, for Ngati Koroki Kahukura to progress to a point where they can stand up proudly and to say that things have been resolved, but this is a beginning, not an end. I want to acknowledge the contribution from Denise Roche. I want to say it in this way, though, that at a particular time, I think every iwi that has settled will re-examine their settlement. I think it's incumbent upon future generations, and I mihi to the rangatahi that are in attendance here today, that they do revisit these treaty settlements. There are issues like relativity, which will be difficult to really achieve until every single iwi has settled their claims. And I would put it this way, that it would be difficult to express relativity between a settlement made 20 years ago and one made today. There are mechanisms within each of those settlements, for example, the purchase of Crown properties. I would certainly want to be paying land prices of 20 years ago than land prices today. And that contributes to the relativity of each individual claim. I think it will be one that will be raised in the future. I won't go so far as to say that this claim is not full and final. That is for the lawyers to decide in the future. But I would suggest to each and every rangatahi in the gallery today, I think that you should take note of these proceedings. They should take note, Mr. Speaker, and remember this day as a special day, but one that also provides them with an opportunity to re-look at where they are in the future. Mr. Speaker, I want to also mention the cultural redress items within the settlement. The statutory acknowledgements mentioned by my colleague Louisa Wall, they are very good instruments, I believe. However, I think they could be extended further into the future than what they are. Also, the deeds of recognition. Those deeds of recognition provide a multitude of management mechanisms over certain land as well. The letters of introduction, a very important part, developing relationships moving into the future. And we've also already heard from the Honourable Nanaia Mahuta about the strong relationship building capability of Ngati Koroki Kahukura. These letters are important, but they provide an opportunity which can only be fully utilised from the point of view of the receiver of the letter. And what I'm saying in that, Mr. Speaker, is that I encourage those ministries, those departments, to actually put real effort into making good relationships with Ngati Koroki Kahukura. Because from my experience, that's not always the case. So, nō reira, ka mutu taku kōrero I konei, o tira kei te mii atu anō ki a koutou Ngati Koroki Kahukura, mō koutou kaha ki ara mai, mō tēnei rā whakaherahera, tēnei te mii atu ki a koutou katoa, o tira o te noa puta noa te ware nei, tēnā tātou.
I call Scott Simpson.
Mr. Speaker, as a Pākehā